All right, we're going to go ahead and get started since everybody's here. Ms. Davis, would you call roll?
Danny Alvis.
Here.
Larry Collins.
Here.
Linda Davis.
Here.
Joshua Gillum.
Here.
Tom Kern.
Here.
Robbie Palmer.
Here.
And Sybil Von Schmidt. Mr. Chairman, we have 7 members present, constituting a quorum.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. If not on the agenda, we're going to go ahead and start with the public comments. I tend to forget that every time. We've got Josh and Ms. Jones here who want to go first. Ms. Jones, you want to start us off?
Okay, I'll go ahead and go first. Okay, of course, my name is Trish Jones. I am here and I have a couple questions on behalf of Joanne Irvin, who is unable to attend this meeting. Our first question is there any feedback on companies or private groups, private citizens, or on secondary road litter cleanup campaigns or volunteer cleanups?
I don't think we've had a chance to sit down and
We haven't started really into that yet, so.
I have gathered information similar to what basically the state does.
Okay.
And I was going to get with Mark and see if it's something we just want to copy or if we want to implement our own.
Okay.
And let the committee decide how we want to do that. So.
Okay, and the second question, and this is maybe something that John Lilly might be able to answer. What is the process for sorting number 1 and number 2 plastics? Is it by machines,
No.
Hawkins County inmates, or employees?
We use Hawkins County inmate labor to sort that plastic.
Okay.
At the recycling center, John.
At the recycling center, they sort the 1s and the 2s, and they discard 3 through 7. We don't have an outlet for number 3 through 7 plastic. So nobody wants to buy it, and so we don't save it.
What was the number 1s again?
Number 1 is PET, which is drink bottles mostly. Number 2s will be milk jugs and HDPE milk jugs and laundry detergent jugs, and thicker plastic. But I'll tell you when it's my turn.
Okay, and that's all of the questions I had today. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Josh, you want to give us an update of where you're at?
Well, I haven't really had an update. I just want to see your beautiful faces here today.
You came to the right place. We've got plenty of beautiful faces.
There was some confusion on the 113 on that, which I just recently clarified with you. We didn't know if it was going to be moved like in the near future, or in talking to you, you guys signed another 1-year contract with that. So we'll set up we already have a trailer all set up, ready to go. We'll start 113. Everything's been going good. Our processor shredder just broke, so we're in the process of fixing that. So always one thing. So, but it's going good. And if you guys have any questions or would like to give me any advice on how to improve things, that would be perfect.
Can you bring the committee up to what we're talking about? All of us?
We were reusing the styrofoam. We set up a styrofoam recycling at the Buram Road.
Right.
People to separate. We kind of were testing out using the styrofoam with concrete to make very light flower beds, raised flower beds, and it's very strong. So we went through the trials and errors on how much styrofoam to use compared to how much concrete, and we've kind of gotten that mixture down good to where it's light but still strong, and just kind of going through the process. And the more styrofoam we have, the more stuff we can make.
You just have the ones still in.
Right. Based on the confusion that 113 was going to be moving because of the new one that you guys purchased. So I thought that was going to be in the near future, but I didn't realize it was signed a 1-year contract on 113. So we already had another trailer set up, ready to go. But we'll start putting that at 113 and doing the same, which I understand is a busier dump than one of Buram.
clean. I mean, it's clean as convenience centers are in general, but it stays contained in this trailer, and I think when you get how much are you getting, a trailer load a week or so? Or?
Probably about that.
Yeah, so.
Which when you go through and shred it all down, it comes to about 2 pounds.
It doesn't take up, it doesn't weigh a lot, but it does take up a lot of air space. And
But right, and it's like, and that was kind of one of the things that I brought up in the beginning. It was a benefit to the city is that it's less trips to the dump that the dump truck have to make, and then we can turn that around and use and be more creative and make something productive out of it. And that was the original discussion.
So everything's going well.
So yeah, good.
Thank you. Committee, any other questions for Mr.
Good. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
All right, John, you're on the hot seat.
So this is, I think, the third quarterly report that I've done. This may be the first one I've actually reported, though. We always had other things to talk about. But so far in the recycling center, over the last 3 months, we produced 4 loads of cardboard, which totaled 94 tons and generated $13,160. We also had sent out 2 loads of plastic, and it's priced separately. The PET brings a little more money than the HDPE, or the number ones bring more than the number 2. So, but in total, we sent out 17.1 tons of plastic, and that generated $3,164. So that's what we've done as far as the recycling. We haven't sent any paper out in the last quarter. We're about to send out a load of. We also recycle shredded newspaper, or just newspaper, and they shred it to use it for. They mix grass seed with it and spray it on the ground and grow grass. Hydro seeding, that's the word I was looking for. So, the only other thing I had to report is our second truck finally came in, so we'll be sending our 2 used trucks to the auction in September, and hopefully they bring a good price and we can continue the program. So, in the past, we've been able to sell the trucks for nearly what we paid for them, even with 90 to 100,000 miles. So.
Did you say on the cardboard $13,000?
$13,160. And that cardboard's all going locally to Domtar, which is offering us a premium of $22.50 a ton over the high side yellow sheet price, which is I think around $120. Plastic selling for about $120 a ton as well. But like the gentleman that was up here before, a whole truckload of plastic barely weighs 10 tons. So it doesn't matter how tight you bale it, it just doesn't have a lot of weight to it.
Are we averaging, I know we're backing up a little bit off that truck, are we averaging about, how many times do you think we sell in a quarter? Just one time or a couple
On
of
the plastic,
Yeah.
maybe one time a quarter, probably more like 3 times a year. It takes quite a bit of time to generate enough to fill out the truck. The cardboard, we generate a load every week or so. I'm sorry, probably more like every two weeks. So it all goes towards our diversion goal. You know, we've got a mandate to divert at least 25% to keep it out of the landfill. So this, along with what businesses do in town, all goes towards that.
doing this tire shredding up off Rattler Creek. Where he is inter-county's local guy, in your opinion, would there be any benefit to having more tire days to help keep tires from being stacked up around properties or thrown on the side of the road? Do you see any potential of being able to partner with him on that? Would there be a need for it, I guess, is the first question.
It's a possibility. I mean, we just had a tire day at Carter Valley and took in over 400 tires. It concerns me a little bit that maybe some of those tires are coming from other places and places that ought to be paying to get rid of them. But, you know, it's hard to police that. But yeah, it's definitely an option for us to
And
partner with him. And
that will be at a cost to us, though, right? We don't make any money off of the tires. That's at a cost.
no, in fact, it's $1,693 every time we send a trailer full of tires to Knoxville.
Okay.
That's what it costs the county.
So there will be no financial benefit for us to do that, but if it could help keep the county cleaner or be a better service to citizens, that would be the only reason we would consider it. There's no financial gain in it.
Well, right now, there's not. I mean,
Yeah.
we know what our tonnage rate is, and it's public knowledge. And, you know, if he can beat that rate, there might be a financial advantage to it. But then we got to consider transportation as well, because most of the tires we get are carried in by the public to the recycling center. So they would have to be taken directly to him by us or by him, and there's probably an expense for, and there's definitely going to be an expense to do that.
Well, what if he had a mobile shredder? That's all I had, is maybe, pick a day like our tire recycling day, and have him on location, shred on location.
I don't know if it's possible, and I have to let him speak to that, maybe, depending on what his permit allows him to do.
Yeah.
So,
You said it costs how much to send a load to Knoxville?
$1,693. And if I've talked to surrounding counties, and it's quite a good deal compared to what surrounding counties are paying. Granger County is paying about $2,200 a load. And I even had a company from Bristol come out and quote me. And they knew what our rate was, but they still quoted a higher rate.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we don't want people throwing tires out on the side of the road or dumping them off somewhere, putting them in their yards and this and that.
Right.
So I want to make sure if there is a way, if there's a need, people would use it for us to allow them to do it more often. If we could do it reasonably, then I think that would be a good thing. It's nothing that I've been heard to do, but I thought it was worth the discussion. So.
It is. We did have an occasion to pick up tires all along Morningstar Road one day. It's like they drove down through there with their truck full of tires and rolled two out every 50 feet.
I see it going across the mountain to my church often. I go across 66 over
Stone Mountain.
Yeah, Stone Mountain.
They roll it. There's a terrible, and that's private property up there. And we can clean the roadside,
Yeah.
but the property owners ultimately responsible to clean up that mess. If I was them, I'd try to put a guardrail up there or something so people couldn't pull off and unload their trash.
You'd have to be a cliffhanger to get down there and get some of it.
Oh yeah, I mean, definitely. You'd have to have a winch and a 300-foot rope.
Anybody else got anything on the quarterly report? All right, we'll move on to number 5, next steps in the development of Highway 66 Convenience Center. I talked to the gentleman at my church that does excavation, and I asked him, what would we be
I did. I talked to Chris Lamb. He's the managing director of the field officer in Johnson City, and he said really shouldn't be any huge concern to make that happen. There will be a few steps that we have to take to make sure that the old site is completely cleaned up, and like I said, he made it sound like it was not going to be an issue at all. Secondly, as far as the next step, at the Conveneunce Center, I happened to run into a civil engineer in the street out here, and really that's what we're going to need. Somebody that knows all about, that can lay that thing out and knows the permits that are going to be required. Runoff is going to have requirements, and so that's, in my mind, I'll just throw that out there and let the committee discuss that and figure out where to go with that.
I guess one of my concerns right now, Sarah, do we know, I believe I asked you outside of the meeting one day about any gas lines, water lines, electrical lines, or do we know there's nothing like that on the property, is there?
There's nothing on the property.
And what is the committee, what, they make any ideas, suggestions, how we want to go ahead and start addressing this?
Well, I think we need to give Mr. Lilly some direction on what we need to do. We've got a year till we've got to be out there, and that'll fly by. So I guess what you're saying is you need us to approve you to maybe get an engineer to do the layout.
Well, exactly. Or I think, Sarah, you and I had a discussion. What was your suggestion?
So normally what we do when we're seeking an engineer to do a project is send it out, a request for qualifications, and then we send it to several engineering firms. And then if the committee would like to be part of the selection process, then you would be part of the team that would sit down, look at each request for qualifications, and you give them a score. There's a scoring mechanism too, and then you come up with whoever has the highest score, and then that's who you would hire. Or we can, as the county mayor's office, work with someone that we've worked with previously that we feel comfortable with, but recently we've just been sending out RFQs. That's what we did at the Laurel Run Park. You know, there's engineers that specialize in pedestrian bridges, and then there's engineers that specialize in bridges that we need in Goshen Valley, of course. So sometimes if you do an RFQ, request for information, then you're able to see the projects that they've completed in the past, and if it's something like you're doing or similar to what you're doing, and even be able to talk to the people that they have worked for to see if they're happy with that. I know it doesn't sound like it would be a big job, but it actually is.
There's well, I mean, if our entrances are on state road, we'll have to have permits from TDOT to get those, and there's a lot of T's to cross and I's to dot, so I mean, we need to make sure that we're doing everything the way it needs to be done, that it doesn't cause a hiccup, because like you said, a year is going to go by pretty quick, especially when we're doing this.
Well, the current 113, I mean, it's a state road. So
It is.
we've got an entrance there. And today, just right before the meeting, I dropped trash off there and some plastics, and there was some backup. There was a couple cars backed out of the gate, and one of the compactors, you could tell, was getting pretty full, and we're only in the middle of the week. So I think we definitely need to move forward with this. I'm in favor of going, giving
understand that, that's a time element too. I think if we go ahead and get an engineer that qualified to do it,
Typically, we send out to every engineering firm that we can send out to and tell them what.
understand, is that
what-
response pretty quick?
Yeah, yeah, tell them, they'll work on it as quickly as you put a deadline on it, in other words. I'd give them a minimum of 3 weeks, something like that, from the time we send them out. This shouldn't be too complicated as far as them deciding whether or not they can do it. Some that are, bridges, things like that,
Understand?
they won't even send anything in because they haven't done it before, but, this is just basically excavation and elevation and things like that, so we could probably turn that around in 3 weeks or so. And then if you all wanted to look at all the information that comes in, we can. We set a deadline on it, so, anything comes in after that, we don't even look at. But if you all wanted to get together after we get those, we can do that, or Sarah and I are pretty good about going through them ourselves and grading them, and there's usually a pretty clear winner.
You could sit out a list of engineers from me, and one wouldn't be no different than the other.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, I feel like that's really the mayor's office responsibility. So if it'd be all right for me, I would let them choose one. Are you okay with that, Tom?
I have no problem with that. The only thing that I question is I don't want to do anything that hinders or slows the process.
Right, we'll move it as quick as we can. And once that firm is selected, then John can get with them and actually get physical stuff rolling.
Are we gonna have 3 compactors over there?
Actually, my plan would be ideally to add a compactor at that location.
Because
We can make it through the weekends, because
that was my next question. Was, 113 over there on Saturday, boy, come through there. Only one was open and traffic was out in the road. Even the deputy was blocking traffic and moving and whatever. And the operators told them they couldn't open the other one up until 3 o'clock.
there's definitely a reason that the operators only run one compactor at a time. But with the new property, we should have plenty of land for people to be off the road and not have that sort of backup.
Well, you're the director, that's what I was going to ask you. Why would you have one sitting there empty and tell someone they couldn't open, start using it until 3 o'clock?
I'd have to ask them what's behind that.
I told him I would find out.
Yeah, now during the week, we only run one at a time because we don't want to have 2 half-full compactors running into Friday. We're gonna make 2 trips to the landfill.
So, well, I don't know if you answered my question or not. If we got the compactor sitting out there empty at 3 o'clock.
I said I'd have to check into that. I don't have an answer.
All right, thank you.
So do you think, once we get that open, there will be a problem with traffic backing up on the highway?
No, I don't.
People come through there pretty good speed, I believe it's about 60 miles an hour. I mean, not 60, but
People come through 113 pretty fast also.
Yeah.
That's true, but at 113, they know they gotta stop right
yeah,
right
they're
front.
slowing down.
Well, and just for clarification, because I've been one of those that have been stopped behind somebody and one of those waiting to turn in, you're going to run into the same issue on any road if there's not enough space. Ideally, there should be enough space once someone gets off the road and turns in. We need to design this to where there's enough room for that person to get into the convenience center. That way they're not having to wait out there on the road. The biggest issue right now on 113 is the space between the compactors and just allowing traffic flow. Like today, when I pulled in the bypass, East Tennessee Iron Metal that goes underneath the railroad track, and you got, the road there at East Tennessee Iron Metal. Coming in from work.
But if we did have a problem, it would be up to the state to put up new signage, reduce speed and all that stuff.
I think we can ask them that. I don't think we're gonna have a big problem because people slow down and turn off the road already as is. But
Mr. Chairman, I think one of the pluses is you got 4 acres there.
exactly.
And who knows, it's always gonna, you could expand, you could face those problems or issues as you come in.
And there's enough of a shoulder that someone can get off the shoulder to turn in. I don't foresee a big traffic issue right there, unless you have 100 people trying to turn in at one time. And that's not trying to be smart, I don't foresee that issue because it is common for someone to slow down, almost come to a stop on 66 just to turn off across the line of traffic.
And that is the busiest one in the county.
It is.
I think that new location will eliminate a lot of that problem.
I hope so too. And an extra room and
Compactor, boxes, the whole 9 yards. Good deal.
Well, we've got a motion on the floor. We'll give John the go-ahead. Is there any other requirements that the committee wants John to ask, or do we just want to send out information and see what we get back?
Clarify, this isn't putting the project out for bid.
No.
Correct? This is just finding an engineering firm so we can do that.
Right.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, if there's no other discussion, Ms. Davis, will you take a roll call?
Tom Kerr,
Yes.
Danny Ellis,
Yes.
Sybil Von Trent, Josh Gill,
Yes.
Linda Davis. Yes. Larry Claus,
Yes.
and Robbie Palmer.
Yes.
7 yes, motion carries.
I do want to let the committee know that I've been doing some research and seeing if there's any grant opportunities out here to help with this. It seems like anytime you start looking for something, you always find out that you're a day late. For fiscal year 2025, the Environmental TDEC had a grant opportunity available for convenience centers. Like the last day to apply was June 30th. And it said eligible expenses are land, paving, fencing, shelters, developing and printing operating manuals. And with Hawkins County being an at-risk county, that does give us it applies a modifier to us. It should have helped us. I believe that, hopefully this grant will be available next year and we could move forward and, apply for that. And it would require some sort of a match, but based on, the grant or application, we wouldn't know that until then.
Robbie, if you can send me a link to that, I'll forward it on to Ken Ray and the folks at the Development District and make them aware that if that comes up, we need to jump on it.
Yeah. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions about the next steps before we move on?
Just wanted to ask, do we want to name the location, or are we going to do what we normally do, call it by its address?
I say we do that address.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be Highway 66.
the 66 Convenience Center, Highway 66.
Because when we start setting things up, we'll have to have.
66 South. You want to do that? Since that's on that.
Well, I'll pin it on Google Maps. I had to go in and correct all of the old convenience centers. They were all over the place. They were none of them in the right place. So I did that 4 or 5 years ago, I guess.
All right. Other business, anybody got anything that they want to bring before the committee right now?
I've had a couple of calls, and I don't remember which convenience center it is, but they were concerned concerned that there were people parking and visiting the people in the shacks, and they couldn't get their cars around there. They said it happens on a fairly regular basis. I can go back through my notes and tell you which one it is if I can find it. But I've had that. And like I said, I've had people ask about TDEC approval for the new sign. I've had people ask whether or not we're going to have to put a turn lane on Highway 66 to get in there, and who's going to have to pay for that. So, you know, people are concerned, but I think it'll turn out to be the best.
Do you want to tell them about the survey?
I don't have a whole lot to tell, except we've got the new survey. It's not split in half anymore. We are one lot of 4.34 acres, and everybody signed, sealed, delivered. It's ours. Here we are. I'd like to thank Gary Williams, who went ahead and did that for us. He didn't charge us, did he?
No,
Sir? When you finally find it, you can get it done.
You know, Mr. Young had it separated, there were two tracks there. So since we bought both, and only one of them was perked, we had it just, the line between them removed. And Mr. Young did that for us. Then John got all the signatures for us, and then the deed's been registered, and so is the survey. So we're ready to go.
Official.
Mr. Louis, you got anything else for other business?
No, I don't.
All right. If the committee don't have any other wishes, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Gill, you got a second? Second by Ms. Davis. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, likewise.
Good job, John.
Thank y'all for your time.
Business meeting at church tonight. I have a business meeting at church.
I thought you were 26.
Huh?
I'm guessing with you. Did you say I'm bitter at 6?
So Robbie,
Well, Joanne sent you.
the next quarter.
Yeah, she wasn't able to attend this time, so.
Hey, boss, make sure I know,
Yeah.
LILLPY.
make sure I know early,
It'll take that
because I'm gonna try to do it.
What's that?
The next quarterly meeting to have plans.
Oh, yeah.
Solid
Yeah.
Waste Director. of Public
Probably need to
Policy.
be looking for a deal on chain link fence if we.
Yeah.
October the 9th. Okay. Next, okay, it's gonna be on Wednesday. And I'm cooking at church now.
So you're going for it?
See you tomorrow.
See you at the meeting.
Ms. Sickle, thank
I've
you.
always had two bald spots right there.
Appreciate it.
And then you showed me the language jobs. That's what.